What's going on, everybody? Here I am back at it again, and I got a lot of things that I want to tell you guys, but I don't want to take up your time too much, so I'm just gonna do a really fast kind of blitz for you guys. So, first and foremost, I will try to make a new series here on the channel where I describe different types of pastas. So ritual pastas, crappy pastas, Fios pastas, all that type of stuff. I want to get in depth in those and kind of bring them out to you guys. Hopefully, show you guys a different side of this stuff that you haven't seen before. And secondly, me and my friend are making not a secondary channel for me, but he's making a channel for himself where he and I will read off some troll pastas, and it's his channel, but me and him work on it very closely, and we actually have a video that we recorded not too long ago. It's edited and everything. He's just finding the right time to release it, and yeah, I'll link him for you guys in the description so you can check him out. He has a ridiculous story that he read off of there that he uploaded to Creepypasta, if you're a fan of those guys. So yeah, but without further ado, that's all I gotta say to you guys for right now. So just enjoy the video. Thank you. So, as you guys know, I like to look for the origins of photos and pictures used in creepypastas. And the reason why is because I think that the origins of those photos and where they come from, who made them, are just really interesting, because it really gives you more insight to the picture itself. It's not always just, oh, it's this scary picture from this scary story, like how we talked about in the McDonald's creepypasta image origins video, which you should definitely check out. But anyways, having unrestricted internet access as a kid opened up this world for me in a huge way. It honestly got my love for horror started, and my love for looking in the finer details when it comes to stories. And one of the stories that I vividly remember listening to as a kid was the creepypasta called The Puppet. And for the longest time, I had just forgotten about it, because that's just what time does. Sometimes you forget. And it wasn't until this week that I remembered this story. You see, sometimes in the morning, what I like to do when it's just me awake and I have nothing else to do, I'll play a game, something just to relax myself, and I'll put on a creepypasta in the background just to have some chill, background sound. And I like to put older creepypastas on. And when the autoplay played the Puppet creepypasta for me, it all came back to me. It reminded me of whenever I was 13 or 14 and I heard this story. And the reason why the story came back to me in such a wave is because of the story and the picture. That picture haunted me for the longest time. And honestly, it did its job, because the story itself, which I'm going to tell you guys here in a little bit because it's short enough for me to kind of just shove it in here, plays perfectly into that concept that I told you guys about earlier, where people will find a picture or something and they will base the whole story around it. Because if you pay attention to the imagery that the author uses and the descriptions and all that, you'll see that he probably ran into this picture and was like, hey, I'm going to use that to make a story. But without further ado, I'm going to quit yapping, and I'm going to give you guys a very brief overview of the story. It was a marionette, I think. It had a big head, and the face was made of wrinkly, flesh-colored rubber. The eyes were gigantic, bulging white orbs with red pupils. The hair was black, made of some hard substance that didn't mesh with the rubbery skin. The teeth were huge, pure white, and capable of moving up and down. The body and the limbs were wooden, painted to resemble clothes, but the paint was faded. You could see the wood's natural brown in some places. Each arm and leg was a different length, but the hands and feet were pretty detailed. It made a loud clattering sound whenever it moved. That puppet followed me. I don't mean it got up and chased me, I mean it kept showing up in my life. My earliest memory of it was on my first birthday. I obviously don't remember the full details of that day, but I do recall my parents singing happy birthday and that puppet. I don't know what it was there for, I just remember it scared me to death and I couldn't stop crying. When I was able to talk, I asked my parents about it and they said nothing like it had happened on my first birthday. They must have thought I was lying about it to make things easier for me. The next time I saw it, I was around 3. I was exploring a room filled with old stuff my parents had stored away, and I found a calendar, but I don't remember what year it was. There was a picture for each month, but the only one I could recall was October. The puppet was its image. I got scared and ran out of the room. I told my mom and I tried to show her the calendar so that she'd know the puppet was real, but I couldn't find it. The room had been messy, and I had ran out so quickly I knocked piles of stuff over. I guess the calendar got buried. I was 6 when it happened again. It was in the middle of the night and I woke up from a nightmare. I can't remember the details, but I was too scared and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I went into the living room and turned on the TV. An old black and white show on Nick at night was ending, and when the commercial started, the puppet came on. It was dancing while loud music played, and I screamed and started crying uncontrollably. But by the time my parents came downstairs, the puppet was gone. I didn't see the puppet for a while after that. I kept having nightmares about it. When I was 15, I decided to track it down, using the internet to try to find information about the calendar, the short, or anything. For a while, no one had ever heard of it, but one day I got an instant message from a friend that I had never talked to before. Their screen name was a random mashup of numbers and letters, and their avatar was a picture of the puppet. I messaged me, glad you still remember me. They immediately signed off. They never contacted me or came online ever again. When I was 20, I was walking by a store that sold old toys and dolls in the front window, and I saw the puppet. I went inside and asked the clerk if he knew anything about that thing's history, when it was made, where it was, or anything. He didn't, said the puppet had just been sold to the store a few days ago, and I could have it for $6. I wasn't sure what to do. It still scared me, but having proof it really existed seemed like a good idea. I bought the puppet and took it home. For a while I felt better. I viewed it as a childhood fear I had overcame as an adult. I even started believing the explanations my parents had given me in the past appearances of it. I apparently saw it somewhere else as a baby and imagined the calendar and dreamed up the TV short. Someone online just played a trick on me. That was what they came up with. I kept the puppet, but as I moved on in life, I pretty much forgot about it. I started college, I got married, and my wife should have given birth in a few weeks. I was cleaning up a room for when the baby comes and found the puppet, the dusty and abandoned puppet. I didn't want my kid seeing it when he was little, so I picked it up and decided I might as well wipe the dust off of it before moving it to another place. When I dusted it, I noted a faded description on the back. This is what he'll look like. Before I could have figured out what it meant, I heard my wife starting to cry. I rushed over to her. She looked more upset than I had ever seen her before. She told me that the doctor had just called. There was a problem with the baby. So, hopefully you guys like that rapid fire of reading that I did for that creepypasta. So, overall, that was a really good creepypasta, in my opinion, for as early as it came. Um, everything was kind of left ambiguous. It was a good story overall. But back to what I do best. So, I got curious about this story mainly because of the image that is associated with it. And the reason why is because I've seen that picture around so many times and I've seen it used in a bunch of different applications. Not just from the creepypasta, but in fact from a very early internet screamer. Not very early, I should say, but kind of later on, back in like 2013-14. And this was the Right XD screamer. So for those who don't know or don't remember, this was a screamer for a website that you had to either find it on accident or I think if I remember correctly, you would have to type 666 after the URL. So you would put writexd.com, slash 666. And it would pop up this screamer, which I'm not going to pull up the screamer, but I am going to put a still of the screamer so that you guys who have seen it might know. And I even know the origin for this one. It's just the picture of this girl on top of the counter eating a cheeseburger. The real horror is that she has her feet on the counter, but anyways. So I remember the picture of the puppet being associated with this screamer because it was kind of like that, not bait and switch, but people would post it or they'd post something, mentioning, don't look up right XD. And I remember that I looked it up after I found the picture of the puppet, but the one that I found was in Spanish. There's an English one too. And prior to seeing it on the creepypasta, the warning or whatever had the same effect. I was like, what the hell is that thing? What is it? And now that I'm older, and now that we have all this, photo look back technology, I ran it through some of the software, and I always use TinEye. And every time that I would look up this picture, I would get back the same JPEG name. And the JPEG name would be something like creepy marionette puppet costume.jpg. And I thought, okay, I'm getting somewhere with that one because a wide majority of them had that description. And then it wasn't until I put that description into Google that I got my answer. And it's a pretty cool answer, similar to that of the McDonald's creepypasta. It's gonna be pretty interesting, I'll be honest with you. So after I looked up the JPEG's name that I saw that was reoccurring, the creepy marionette puppet costume JPEG name, whatever, I came across a site called Instructables, if I'm saying that right. And this is a very interesting site because it's essentially a place where people get together and they show off all these crafts that they can do, and a lot of them are costumes. And whenever I clicked on the first link that came up that had the same name as the JPEG, I was greeted with a very, very interesting picture, as you guys could see here. And the more that I scrolled, the more I started to realize that this was in fact somebody's craft. This is something that somebody put together in order to be part of a contest, I'm assuming, in the site, because it says that at the very bottom of it, it actually mentions that they were a contestant and a finalist in the Halloween contest of the site. Now, I'm not sure if they won. From the looks of it, it didn't really tell me who the winners were, but shit, to me, this is a very, very good costume, and in fact, I believe it should be one of the ones that won. But I mean, as you can see here, he has it all laid out, what you need to make this thing, the mask especially, the gloves, the marionettes, string thingies, and at the very end, you see the iconic picture alongside with some other more candid pictures of him wearing this costume. And this is all attributed to a person called One Broken Neck. And not only is this the only thing that they posted, but they posted several things on here, and I unfortunately didn't find any like modern day account that I could contact him in or whatever. But if any of you guys know him, just let him know that I, I appreciate his costume, and I'm sure a lot of people are nostalgic just seeing this thing. And I mean, again, we go back to the creepypasta effect where somebody will, for lack of a better term, steal the picture from somebody and use it in their story. Now, I get it, you can't really copyright these types of pictures or whatever, but it would help if they would just give credit to the people that, they're using their pictures. And, One Broken Neck here, he didn't get nearly as much attention as he should have afterwards, but I mean, he he got 27,000 views on his page because of this, and finalist in the site's Halloween contest. And I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And I just hope all the best for Rook and Nick here, because I mean, honestly, he made my childhood a little bit more creepier in a good way, and I'm sure he made a lot of y'all's just as creepy. But yeah, this is somebody's costume that they put effort into, and I hope that people go and they check it out on his website, leave a comment or whatever. And yeah, I mean, we got to the bottom of that one pretty quick. That was a fun video. I'll be honest with you, that was a very fun video, and I'm glad I made that, because I know that you guys love the Image Origin series. I love it too. They're fun to make. But not much to say for this outro, since I pretty much said everything I needed to in the intro. But in essence, I'm going to try to make that pasta series, like I told you guys, ritual, creepypastas, all of them. I'm going to try to touch up on them and explain what they are, some good examples of them and whatnot, and we'll see where that goes from there. And yeah, my friend and I, we're doing stuff on his channel, Screeching Rat King. I'll like I said, I'll put it in the description. But we're gonna do some troll pasta readings there. We're gonna do some more serious stuff. He's working on a story that's really good, almost pen pal good, and we're gonna talk about that on there too. He's still setting up his channel and stuff, but we have some videos done so far. So if you're interested in that, something where it's a little bit more relaxing, that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be just funny stuff, nothing too serious, very very easy to watch stuff. Definitely be on the lookout for that. And like I said, I pretty much told you guys everything I needed to in the intro. Thank you guys again for all the support you show me, and here's to hoping that I make it to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, hopefully with your guys' support. And that's about it. Thank you guys, I appreciate you, and I hope you enjoyed.
The aura, okay? That fucking bird that I hate.
That fucking bird that I hate. That fucking bird that I hate.
That fucking bird that I hate.